All right, this is the Interpreting Position Graphs tutorial, and you will notice that there are 8 items here um, representing objects A through H, and this is all the position data for each item as a function of time. And what we're going to do is create graphs and annotate them to describe the motion that's displayed on the graphs. So we're interpreting what the position graphs look like and producing notes. So we select the correct data set, and time will always be x. If I wanted to do the first one, I would select this as my y and create the first graph. But I'm going to skip ahead and do one that's a little bit trickier so I can explain how to put the notes on the graph and how to interpret it. Normally we do scatter plot, but for this a line plot works pretty well because we're interpreting the shape of the graph. So I can go ahead and produce that. And this is graph H. Okay, so the new task that we're learning for this activity is to click on Notes, and you simply press this plus sign and it gives you all the features. And there's a lot of customization you can do here. Feel free to tinker with it, change the sizes and shape of the arrowhead and things like that. But for our purposes, we'll just go ahead and press plus. So what I have is 2 new notes. I can add a third note. I can add a fourth note all at once. And then I can just sort of X out of this. And once they're on the screen, I can kind of move them around. There should be 4 here. And then make them kind of go wherever I want. Okay, so I can grab the whole item by grabbing the vector, and I can adjust it however I like. And at this particular point in the graph, I see that the slope is increasing. So I interpret that as speeding up. So it looks like on this part of the graph, the object is speeding up. And what it looks like to me here, well, there we go, is the object stops, because you can see after this point, it stays at the same position for several seconds. And at this point here, it looks like we sort of turn around. So at this particular time, the object turns around. So it's speeding up in one direction, it stops, it hangs out there for a while. You could call that at rest. And then it turns around at this point. And for this last bit, it looks like we're headed at a constant speed. And the slope is negative, so I'm going to add negative speed to that as well. The only other comment that you might want to make is that this is at rest here. So let's go ahead and put that in by adding one more annotation. There we go. And here's our new guy. Oops, kind of did that backwards, didn't I? Takes a little bit of practice getting them to point the direction you want and so on. So this is at rest. So for this particular item, I see speeding up, I see it stopping, it's at rest, it turns around, and then it has a constant negative speed. And what I want to do is go create graphs A through H, and then annotate them. Just like before, we want to export it as a PNG. And we'll see that sort of pop up at the bottom when it's done downloading. I want to go into Drive and create a new document. And all I have to do is actually grab this. Oops. Looks good, by the way, but I can actually grab this and drag and drop it into a document. And you can rescale it if necessary, but you should easily be able to fit 2 graphs on one piece of paper. So you can see there's one here and one here. Obviously, I've pasted graph H twice, but you might, for example, have graphs A and B, and on the next page you might have graphs C and D, and by dragging and dropping it into a doc, it gives us the freedom to save it in Drive, and it also allows us to save paper because now I can fit 2 graphs on a single sheet instead of just 1 graph. All right, that's it. Good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.